Hi, I thought I'd take a few minutes and share with you how to get into Flipgrid and how to actually create a grid and an activity or topic. So the first thing you need to do is to go to the educator login and log into your account. So I'm going to log in. There's my name and password, so I'm logging in. So once you get in, if you have previous grids that you've created, you'll be able to see them. This is one I created yesterday when I was working with the ASL teachers. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete that grid. Okay, so you see how I went over to this actions button and there's a drop down arrow and that allows me to do different things. All right, so let's start from the beginning. So you want to create a new grid. Think of a grid um, as a place for you to put assignments for your course. So I name my grids by the name of my course. So let's say this is going to be an ASL course. So I'm going to name it ASL 1510. If I have more than one, I'll put actually the date and time that we meet so my students know, oh, that's mine. And they can't see the other grids if you don't give them the code anyways, so it doesn't matter. All right, so now this grid has a URL associated with it, but you won't need to use that URL. Okay, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm going to put down here what I use this grid for. So students will participate in class activities on Flipgrid. So all this is doing is saying, okay, this is this place that I am going to put assignments, and that's what that grid is for. So I go down and now I look at the privacy settings that I want to use. So I do not set a password because then students need to have that to access it. For me, it's just much easier for me to give students the URL for the assignment and be done with it. I don't allow them to share grids on Twitter, Facebook, or any other place because this is their work and they don't want it out there in the open domain, and I don't want it out there. Allow students to receive emails when new topics are created. I want that to happen because I want them to be aware, hey, Senora just put something new out there for me to do. And then allow students to download their videos after creating a response. I'm okay with that, I guess, because it's their individual work. So if they choose to do that, that's fine. In terms of features, I want to be notified when a student posts something so that I know I need to go to Flipgrid and look at that. It can be overwhelming if you have a ton of students, so you may want to not do that. You can inactivate a grid at the end of the semester if you choose to do that. So that way nobody can go back and look at the work that they did during the course. If you want to leave it open, you can do that as well. I usually inactivate my previous ones. The captioning tool right now is not that great. So if you're trying to have it captioned in another language, it's not that good. And from English to Spanish and whatnot, or French, or it just doesn't work really well. So they're still working on, improving that. So now we want to customize, meaning we want to pick a scene that's going to appear for this grid. So I put, that one, and now my grid is created. What is most important is once you create one of these for each of your classes that you're going to assign Flipgrid assignments to, you create a topic. Think of a topic as an assignment. So I'm creating this topic. And so normally I use Flipgrid at the very beginning of a semester to get them familiar with it. And this is where I ask them to introduce themselves. So I can also go back to these introductions, and it reminds me of information about my students. So I'm creating an introduction activity or topic. So it's a homework assignment. It's an assignment of some sort. I can determine the maximum amount of length I want this recording to go. So you say I don't want students to talk more than 2 minutes for this particular assignment. And here is where I describe what the topic is that they need to talk about. So introduce yourself to the class. And include, be sure to include, give them a list of things I want them to include, and I tell them what language, okay? They speak Spanish. If you're an ASL teacher, you might say, sign your introduction. Please do not use any spoken language, something to that effect. So whatever your requirements are. So I put the topic out there, and I can select when I want this to be available to the students and for how long I want it to be available. They also, Flipgrid's really improved quite a few things. So students will add emojis. They like to do that. They can upload images to their recording. They can add video. So when you're making assignments, they can be really creative with it. If you want to include some sort of URL that you need the students to watch or something, you can do that also. They like these selfie decorations. They'll do that also. So there's a lot of creativity that can come into these. So the feedback that you're going to give is one of the great features about Flipgrid. You can give video feedback and you can give text feedback to students. And you can provide that feedback to them individually so that nobody else sees it. So we've got that all set up. I'm going to create. So now you get these two, as soon as you create it, you see these two URLs. The first URL is for the main Flipgrid that you're going to use consistently throughout the course. The students don't need that link. What they need is the direct link to the topic you just created or to the assignment that you just created. So I want to copy that. So if I go to it, now I can see, okay, this is the assignment I just created for my students. I've got it up here. I make a copy of that grid, and then in my case, I post it on Blackboard, and I have a course document I used where I put all the assignments, but I also can send to them in an email on Blackboard or however you communicate with your students. So that is how to use Flipgrid. That's how for you, the teacher, to create it. Now, when your students click on this link and they get to this page right here, all they need to do is to click on this plus sign. It will bring up this video screen, and now they can record, in this case, their introduction. So they record their introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So all they need to do is to click on this button. They're recording. Hi, I'm Teresa. I live in Napoleon, New York. I has been studying Spanish for a gazillion years. So whatever you want to say, you stop it. They do. Your student will. And they can go and listen. Hi, I'm Teresa. I live in Napoleon, New York. I has been studying Spanish for a gazillion years. Okay, so there's my video. If I don't like that video, if your student doesn't like that video, underneath my picture right here is the little trash can. You just click on that trash can and it gets rid of it, and the students can try again. So they can try as many times as they want to record, the perfect introduction or the perfect assignment, and then submit it. Okay, so that's Flipgrid. That's how we use it. I hope this little video will help you.